Welcome into the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern. I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. If you haven't checked out his YouTube, go check it out. He gives picks on there every day, and he has won 12 of the past 15 days.
12 of the last 15. Thank you.
And you can't teach that. Bada boom. Man of the people in the room. Welcome in to Ride the Line. Grant, I'm so fired up for the show I can't even pronounce my words. Also coming off a 3-0 day on Monday, and you can't teach that. This is the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment.
This is the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. And from a monetary perspective, this might be the best sports betting podcast in the entire world. Tanner is now 20-10 on the show. I feel like we need to celebrate that. That's a big milestone. He's almost at 70% on his picks on the show. Me, I'm at a measly 57%, which of course is still making you guys plenty of money. So if you haven't by now, hit that subscribe button. We are doing our job 3 days on the work week. It's the monotonous work week. You got to wake up 5 in the morning, make your little drive to work. Nobody wants to do. Throw the show on. Listen to the picks. Make yourself some money. It's the smart thing to do, and we have proven that we will win time and time again.
Yeah, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So depending on when your commute is, you can listen to us on there in the car. I mean, it's Wednesday. We have day baseball. Your jobs get better on Wednesday because you can bet on day baseball. And we haven't had it the past 2 days. So make sure you smash the subscribe button. Again, I say this every show. If you're an American and you can't press the subscribe button, go to a different country and register for a citizenship there because you're not American. Because we're the back World War champions. If you can't press a button, you have an issue. That's what I'm saying. Grant, what do you think of that?
What do I think of that, Tanner? Well, you know exactly what I'm thinking of that, and we can boil it down to our catchphrase on this show. Tanner, are you riding today?
Oh, I'm riding. I'm riding hard.
You're riding?
Hard.
You're riding with me? You riding with me into this first pick I got here?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Subscribe one more time. Say it for the people. If you're not subscribed, you're not riding. All right, Grant, go.
All right. I am going to ride my way on over to the Cleveland Guardians money line. This is my favorite play of the day. This was a tough day of picks for me. I'll be transparent and open with the audience. I had a tough time making my picks, but this one jumped off the page to me. First of all, the value. At the time this is being recorded, you can get just about minus 130 for the Guardians money line, which is beyond disrespectful considering they are outscoring the Pirates 21-1 in the series so far. They won the first game 11-0, and they won Tuesday 10-1. And yet again, minus 130 value. I just don't understand that. On the bump in this one, it doesn't get any better. For the Guardians, it's Aaron Savali, 3-2 with a 2.65 ERA and a 1.08. Great numbers. Going against Rich Hill, who's now 43 years old with a 4.76 ERA and a 1.44 whip. He consistently gives opponents the opportunity to hit the ball and get on base. We look at this month, boil it down to how have they been doing recently. Well, in this month, the month of July, Savali has a 1.50 ERA. Hill has a 6.60 ERA. So obviously Hill has not been at his best. He hasn't had a quality start in his last 6 outings. The Guardians, I know we think of their offense as being rather anemic and having trouble to score, but over the last 30 days of play, they are 8th in Major League Baseball in scoring. And if you want to take out the last 2 days, they would still be top 10. They're also top 10 in on-base percentage, batting average. Their offense looks a lot better than it did. And the thing about the Pirates, even if they somehow manage to hold the Guardians at bay, over the last 30 days of play, the Pirates are dead last in home runs. They don't get themselves any cheap opportunities to get runs. No, they just continually suck. Tanner, this is kind of crazy. Did you know that only 2 teams in Major League Baseball history that started 20-8 went on to have losing records? Did you know that?
No.
Did you know the Pirates started 20-8 and ever since then they're 21-46? They are going to set the record for the worst record by a team to start 20-8. It's not even going to be close.
The Pirates aren't that good of a baseball team, so I like this. I don't like betting on the Guardians because their offense sucks, but they've been hitting the ball in the series, unlike the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, Grant, I like the pick. Savali's a beast. And you know who else is a beast, Grant?
Who's that?
The Los Angeles Dodgers. The Orioles had this cute little winning streak going and everything was great. And they're about to overtake the Rays in the American League East. And then the big bad Dodgers came to Baltimore and just absolutely embarrassed them yesterday. And I think same thing's going to happen today just because it's a different class of baseball. The Baltimore Orioles, they're cute. They're fun. They're the young rookies. They're doing well. But the Dodgers are the Dodgers. And they showed up. And they're playing really well right now. And that's another reason to stay away from Baltimore here and bet on Los Angeles. Slightly juiced, minus 156. Me and Grant were talking before the show. I will take money lines of baseball up to minus 170. It's all about probability. And when you look at probability and you look at who's going to win today, I think it's going to be the Dodgers, and that's why it's worth taking this line here. You could go run line. Again, they dominated yesterday. It's a good run line spot because they're on the road. I just don't trust it necessarily. I'd rather take the money line and play it safe. Julio Urias, 7-5, 4.35 ERA, 1.11 whip, 63 hits allowed in 70 innings. Home run happy a little bit. That's been his issue, but overall, he can still deal. Dean the Cream, Kremer is on the mound. Remember Dean the Cream, Grant? 10-4 with a 4.59 ERA and a 1.33 whip. He's 10-4 because his offense has really helped him out. But when you look at the Dodgers right now, they are on fire. They're about to sweep the Baltimore Orioles, in my opinion. They went 2-1 against the New York Mets in their first series after the All-Star break, and then they have just continued to perform. Going into the All-Star break, they won 4 in a row, and then 5 of their final 6. So they're feeling good right now. I'm all over the Dodgers, and I'm going to keep it that way moving forward.
You know who the Orioles could use on their side, Tanner?
Shohei
Ohtani. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible? And here's the reason. So I don't know if you've looked into teams that could make a trade for Shohei. And here's the thing: it's tough to predict where he's going to land because literally every team in the league wants him, and every team in the league would be willing to part with pretty much their entire franchise to get him. But I think the Orioles, they have the best farm development system in all of baseball, Major League Baseball. They've got guys on their starting roster that they could afford to part ways with. And the main reason that I feel like it's at least an interesting conversation to have is the Orioles, sometimes your window opens early, even earlier than you're expecting it to. For the Orioles, the window is open. Like this is a great opportunity. You're one game out of the lead in the American League East. You can potentially put together a deep playoff run. You've got a lot of young pitchers coming through. Do they take the chance at Shohei? What do you think?
No. I hope you don't believe they do either. That's not how the Orioles play baseball. The Orioles have worked for 8 years to have this kind of team with the young players and the young talent they have, and they have a loaded farm system yet, but they're not giving it up for one player that's not going to help them win the World Series. Like Shohei Ohtani gives them a better chance of winning the World Series. The Orioles are still not winning the World Series when you look at their pitching staff, and you look at what the Dodgers are doing to them, and they're not even in first place in the American League. So I don't think they would never do that. I think like a team like the Yankees might consider doing it, but the problem is with the Yankees, they're going to have to give up like Jason Dominguez, who's their number 1 prospect. Like teams are going to have to give up so much. So if you do take a chance on Shohei, you better have a World Series caliber team already, and then he just gets you over the hump. The Orioles just don't have a World Series roster right now.
I think it's almost with Shohei Ohtani. There's a real argument Shohei's the most valuable player to ever play the game of baseball because he can be a perennial MVP candidate and he can be a perennial Cy Young candidate. You can be an MVP candidate without the pitching. You know, it's rare that we've really ever seen this in baseball. And so I feel like a team, even if they are a World Series ready team, would still almost be should almost be willing to take themselves out of contention for a year or two, give up the assets you need to get this guy, and then spend the next year or two signing guys in free agency, making trades. That, of course, you know, like you said, isn't the way the Orioles operate, but just in a general perspective, I could see a team doing that.
Grant, Ohtani's overrated.
Wow.
Okay, he pitches and he hits, and he does them both exceptionally well. But when you look at his pitching numbers, all right, he's walked 46 batters in 105 innings. All right.
Okay. I know the route you're going to go down, and I don't disagree. But calling him overrated is insane.
Well, not overrated. He can do something that not everyone can do, but he's not taking a team to the World Series alone. Like this is
nobody is.
Yeah, there you go. So they're not going to take him. Let me see what's his batting numbers.
He's ahead of where Aaron Judge was last year in what MLB.com said was the 7th best season in Major League Baseball history.
Yeah, he can do it all. Like he can hit, but like you're not signing Ohtani still. Like he's not the best pitcher, and like his pitching numbers have not been that good. So the fact that he can do them both better than a lot, yeah, like but he ain't leading you to the World Series on his own. That's all I'm
Well, he's the
saying.
best offensive player in the league, and he's a top 20 pitcher in the league. Like, how is that not the most valuable player?
Walk rate's way too high.
All right, well, you're just hating right now. I'm going to go over to my second pick of the day. I'm going with the Colorado Rockies plus 1.5 versus the Houston Astros. I don't know how this happened, but I've become an Austin Gomber defender because every time I've looked at him, he's come through with some big performances, and he's not as bad as people think. He's not as bad. Got to keep in mind, he plays at Coors Field half the time. Of course, his ERA is whip. They're going to be inflated. But if you look at the games in which he started, not his decisions, just the final results of games he started, the Rockies are 7-4 with him on the mound when they play at home. This game is, of course, at home, coming off of a day in which the Rockies beat the Astros 4-3. Now, again, I'm going with plus 1.5. I'm not going with the full money line, but I do think they're in a good spot here. He will be taking on Brandon Bialik, who is 4-5 with a 3.79 ERA, a good ERA, but a 1.47 whip. Comparatively, that whip is a lot worse than the ERA. Here's the thing. These two teams played a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, because you got to factor in the All-Star break. Astros won both of those games because the Rockies are awful on the road. They're 14-33 on the road. Since that game, the Astros are 1-7 against the spread. The Rockies 5-2 against the spread. Like I said, they all are also a lot better at home. 23-25 straight up. Their offense has been coming through. The Astros are injured. Altuve, Brantley, Yordan Alvarez, they're all out. I like the Rockies to get the cover here.
I don't mind it, but you're playing with fire going against the Astros, but I don't mind it because of all the injuries. I watched the Astros Angels game the other night, and like they were just hitting home runs like crazy. They responded. I think the Angels had like a 6-3 lead at one point, and they just came firing back. So playing with fire against a bad Rockies team, Grant. So I give you a little credit for this one, especially with Gomber on the mound. He blows.
Did you see yesterday? I believe it was the most teams to hit double-digit scoring in the same day in MLB history.
There's some big scores yesterday. It was like every game was like 13-10 or whatever. The crazy game was the Braves and Diamondbacks. That one was nuts because the Braves went up big and the Diamondbacks went up. Braves came back and the Diamondbacks answered.
I tweeted this. Imagine being a Diamondbacks plus 1.5 better, and you have to sweat it. Like you have to sweat a plus 1.5 after they've scored 13 runs in 8 innings.
Yeah, they came through with ease. Late, yeah. At least it took them a while. But all right, Grant. Tigers money line here, keeping it simple. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. Tigers are a much better team, but both teams suck. I will say that. Tigers are 42-52. The Royals are 28-68. They're 15-34 at home. Are they worse than the Oakland A's record-wise?
Yes, they're the worst team in baseball.
I gotcha. Oakland A's big win over the Boston Red Sox yesterday. Eduardo Rodriguez, 5-5 with 2.7 ERA, 1.0 whip, 76 innings, 81 strikeouts, only 8 home runs over that time. So doing very well. Ryan Yarbrough, the same cannot be said about him. His whip's not terrible at a 1.27, but the ERA has not been there. Only has 32 innings on the mound. There are some good parts about his game, but I'm still not trusting him in this spot. Tigers won game 1 of this series. The Royals bounced back, won 11-10 yesterday. I think the offenses will come back to earth a little bit. When we look at these teams, they're very similar on offense. Tigers hit like 7 more homers. They have less hits, but they've scored 9 more runs this year. I like the Tigers here just because of the starting pitcher, and it's, the Royals just aren't a good baseball team. It's very hard to trust them.
Yeah, the Tigers have also found more success against the Royals than the other way around so far this season. And the Tigers, even though they're not good, they are definitely better than the Royals. You gave me some grief for betting on the Tigers because of how bad their offense is. So it's going to be fun for me to watch you sweat this one a little bit when you have to bet on the Tigers and their offense to come through. But there's nothing you can do to get me to pick the Royals. I don't mind this pick.
Yeah. Keep it simple, Grant. I'm betting a bad offense against a bad offense, and they have a pitching advantage, so it cancels out, and then you just go with the pitchers.
No, yeah, I understand. That was the reason that I bet. I think I had Tarek Skubal on the mound. I forget who, but that was the same reasoning that I went with. I know I was betting against Jordan Lyles, and it ended up working out because it's worked out pretty much every game this season.
Yep. Next pick. Final pick.
Yep. Yeah, final pick. My final pick. I'm going to switch up because yesterday on my show, the one you were talking about, I picked the Angels to beat the Yankees, and today I'm taking the Yankees to beat the Angels. Now, there are a couple reasons for this pick. Number one, Carlos Rodon is on the mound. He's only had 2 appearances this season because he came off of a nagging injury. But with those 2 appearances under his belt, you would assume this third start he's going to have a level of comfortability back on the mound. One thing about Rodon is throughout his career, he's never been a guy to give up a ton of home runs. You look at the Angels, yes, they score a lot of runs, but pretty much all of those, it feels like, come from their ability to hit the home runs. They've hit the third most in the MLB. And with all of the guys that are missing from their starting lineup, 5 guys out injured, and Rodon's ability to not give up the long ball, I feel like there's a stylistic advantage there. You know, fighters don't make fights, styles make fights, following that sort of logic. And then on the opposite side, for the Angels, it's going to be a bullpen day. These numbers are 1 day old, so forgive me for that. But according to those, over the last 30 days of play, the Angels bullpen has a 7.82 ERA, a 7.82. Yes, the Yankees offense has been struggling since Aaron Judge went out of the lineup. But if you're telling me that I have the opportunity to bet against a staff with a 7.82 ERA, you know, whether it's the Royals, the Athletics, the Tigers, I would be willing to bet on that. I would be willing to take that chance. Again, a lot of it's going to be on Rodon to keep his home runs down. They need him to go 5-6 innings, not give up the long shot to Shohei or Mickey Moniak or whoever hits it. But the Yankees also have the best relievers, the best bullpen in Major League Baseball. I trust the Yankees to get a big win here and sort of keep their playoff hopes alive, because even though they're 50-45, I believe, they're still starting to slip away from them just because of how good the AL East is.
The last place, New York Yankees.
Are they still last, or are the Red Sox last now because they lost?
Red Sox are a game up on them.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. Do you agree with this? This might be the best single season division in MLB history.
Oh, it has to be. I mean, the Red Sox are the Red Sox the other day were like 8 games above 500. They have a plus 40 something run differential, and they're in 4th place. Like if you just evened out these divisions, put one team in the AL Central, put a couple teams in the AL Central, and put a couple in the AL East, like everyone would make the playoffs because you get all those easy games against the Central. But yeah, it's been fun to watch. It's going to be a race down the stretch. That final month's going to be very exciting. If, you know, the Astros are still in it, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and then I believe that's pretty much the wild card picture right now.
So you're assuming the Orioles get in?
Yeah, they're in with these because they're either going to win the division and they'll flip-flop with the Rays because they're 6 games up on the Blue Jays, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Tanner, what's your final pick of the day?
Well, keeping it simple, Grant. The Boston Red Sox, 8-2 in their past 10 games. Tough loss yesterday, but Boston baseball, they bounced back. Going against Ken Waldichuk today. See, I'll say this. I bet the Red Sox on the run line the past 2 days. They didn't even have a starting pitcher named, and I just bet it. I didn't even care. I said Red Sox on the road against the A's, take it. Now, yesterday didn't go their way. They didn't score a run, but the day before they lit up the scoreboard. I expect them to light up the scoreboard once again against Ken Waldichuk. He is atrocious. 2-6 with a 6.66 ERA, and he also has a 1.84 whip. He's given up 15 homers in 75 innings in 46 walks. He has walked 46 batters in 75 innings, Grant. 46 in 70. What? How is that even possible? Brian Bile going for the Boston Red Sox today. He's been a machine. Let me see his splits. I got to look at his splits from the past month. He's been that guy. Month of July, he's got a 3.46. Not as good. Month of June.
Well, it's not even the last month, though. It's just if you take out his opening day, which was bad, take that out. He's been excellent ever since then.
2.67 in May, 2.14 in June, 3.46 in July. He got roughed up in his last start a little bit, but last 30 days, 2.36 ERA. Opponents are batting 240 off him. He's given up 24 hits in 26 innings and just 7 earned runs with 2 walks over those past 26 innings. He's that guy. The Boston Red Sox are a much better team. You're getting this like minus 126. It'll be up to minus 140 something by the time this game starts. So lock in the Boston Red Sox right now.
Yeah, this was a pick that I wrote down, didn't end up sharing it on the show, partially because Tanner claimed dibs on it, but I do like this pick. I do think this is going to happen. Waldichuk has the devil inside of him with that 6.66 ERA, so I'm going to stay away from it just because of that, but a 1.84 whip, like that's Adam Wainwright levels this season. That's worse than Jordan Lyles, who's been one of the least profitable pitchers in Major League Baseball history. The Athletics had a little run where they were kind of amazing against the spread, but over the last 9 games, that started to wear off their They're 1-8 straight up, 4-5 against the spread. Definitely like the Red Sox to get a bounce back here, especially after getting shut out yesterday. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Red Sox get a big win here.
8-2 in their past 10, 1.5 games out, that last wild card spot right now. So this Boston team's legit. If they make a move for a pitcher, they are going to be in great shape in the second half of the season, Grant. That was a great episode.
What? A pitcher named Shohei Ohtani?
No, they won't. They won't give up. The Red Sox are too cheap. They should. No, they don't. But the Red Sox forget that they're the Boston Red Sox. They think they're the freaking Kansas City Royals or the Tampa Bay Rays or something. The Tampa Bay Rays are good. I shouldn't say that. But they think they're a small market team. And they forget that they're the Boston Red Sox.
They forget they're a small market team, but we are big market bettors because we continue to nail the picks, and these were our 3 best picks of the day. If you guys want to join the Ride the Line family, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. With Tanner and I will be back on Friday talking some futures betting. We got a lot of great content coming up. You guys don't want to miss out on any of it.
See you next time for another episode of Ride the Line.